Welcome back, everyone. Today we are covering the Minnesota Vikings in this series where I am trying to pick every single game for every single team in the NFL. If your team is from the AFC, that video should be on my channel. You can go ahead and check it out. But if you're here for the Vikings, we will go ahead and get right into this. So J.J. McCarthy is taking over for Sam Darnold, and for some reason, a reason I can't explain, a lot of people are writing the Vikings off, I guess, or not thinking of them as a serious threat, which to me, I certainly disagree with. And I'll preface this by saying I'm not a Vikings fan. I feel the need to say I'm not a fan when I'm about to give a different take than the public. But it's true, I'm not a Vikings fan, but I do think fairly highly of them this year. However, brutal schedule. The NFC North, I've talked about it in the Lions and Packers videos that I've already done. The schedule is very tough for these teams this year. So, very good teams. Their records might not 100% reflect that. So, we'll get right into it. Week 1. This is a tough spot for the what is essentially a rookie, J.J. McCarthy. On the road in Chicago, Monday Night Football, prime time, season opener. That's a tough spot, and I do like this Vikings team, and I don't think JJ is going to be rough. I think he'll be solid. I think he's being put into a great spot. I think you have a great offensive coach. He has great weapons. Darnold is not that great of a quarterback. Love the guy, but not that great of a quarterback, and he excelled in Minnesota. So I don't expect JJ to have too many issues unless he is just bad, which, is possible, of course, but I'd be surprised. But tough spot, week 1 on the road. I'm going to go ahead and give that one to Caleb Williams and the Bears to kick off their season with a win. But then the Vikings get their home opener on a Sunday Night Football. So, yeah, back-to-back primetime games to open the season for Minnesota. This one on Sunday Night Football. And I do have the Vikings coming out with a win in this one. The Vikings, I just think they're a better team than the Falcons, just almost all over. And even at quarterback right now, I'm not sold on Penix. I don't think I saw enough from last season to make me think he's going to excel. I think he'll be all right. And I just think this Vikings team is better. They're at home. I think that's definitely a win for the Vikings in my eyes. Then the next week, home against Cincinnati. Believe it or not, this might surprise some people out there, but Minnesota is currently in the preseason odds favored in this game. And I would agree. I like this spot for Minnesota. Cincinnati does tend to struggle early in the year. I'm sure they're hoping to change that, but, you can't just hope it into existence. And I think this game could be one of those shootouts, more higher scoring one, although that's something you could say in any Cincinnati game. But I think the Vikings could see a lot of points here. Bengals are going to have to match them. It's going to be a great one to watch. It's a 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Central kickoff. So it's kind of going to get buried in the red zone channel, a bunch of other games being on. But this is really a great game. That's unfortunate. It's going to kind of get lost, not too many eyes on it. But that being said, I do like the Vikings in this spot to go 2-1 start the year. And then they head overseas for 2 games. And honestly, I was looking at it. I knew they were over there for 2 games. But what I did not notice is both games are classified as road games, which to me, that is a huge benefit. That is huge. You get two games where instead of going on the road to Pittsburgh, which can be a hostile environment, depending on when the game is, and you're just on the road, and they're not. And on the road in Cleveland, which could be one of those potential trap games, visiting on the road, you get both of them at a neutral site. I think that's huge for the Vikings. And definitely an advantage, definitely something I think other teams in the future might want to try to do as well. So definitely interesting. I know last year Jaguars were over there twice, but one of them was technically a home game, I believe. So week 4, though, this one is the Dublin game against Pittsburgh, and I do have the Steelers winning this one. Early in the season, I think there will be games, young quarterbacks still trying to figure it out. It doesn't come all at once. I mean, you look at the Broncos and Bo Nix last year, they had a great season. They ended up making the playoffs, but they had a bit of a slow start. Jaden Daniels, not necessarily a slow start. He actually did fairly well, but I don't know. I just think sometimes it takes some time to really get moving and get cohesive with a young quarterback. So I think that one's a loss, and the Steelers are a very good team also. And then this one against Cleveland in London, I will take the Vikings to win that one. I'm not sure why that went to a loss, but yes, I would take them to win that and move to 3-2 on the season before their bye week, a much needed bye week after 2 weeks overseas. And then they're home against Philadelphia in what should be another good game, but is trapped in that 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central window. So there won't be too many eyes on it. I think this can be a great game. I went back and forth on this one. I think it really could go either way. But ultimately, I am siding with Philadelphia in this one to drop the Vikings down to 3-3. As I said, tough schedule, and this is where it gets really tough. I mean, wow. I mean, you look ahead, the next game you have that you're like, yeah, we should absolutely win that is, I would say week 16. And week 11, you could argue home against the Bears, but I don't think that's a gimme anymore. Definitely not even. So the brutal schedule begins in that week 7 game against Philadelphia. Week 8, they're at the Chargers, a very good Charger team. This is a Thursday night football game. I said it in the Chargers video. This is going to be an awesome Thursday night football game. I feel like these are two teams that don't have national attention necessarily. So it might not be as hyped up of a game. But as far as Thursday night football games go, I am pumped for this one. This is super exciting. I always get pumped when I see good Thursday night games on the schedule. I know there's one this year, games like, Philadelphia against the Giants. It's like those are the Thursday games we want to avoid, and we want Thursday games like this. I'll take weird matchups, NFC versus AFC, two teams that aren't national markets, don't play very often, but just an overall great game. I wish they could do that every Thursday. But anyways, great Thursday night game. I think really could go either way again, but I will take the Chargers in this one. And then week 9, Vikings hoping for some revenge as the Lions took them down in the last week of the season last year to win the division. But I do think they'll have to wait for some real revenge because I don't think they're winning in Detroit this early. That's a 3-5 record. That's tough. That's a tough start. This is a very, very good football team. I think they're exceptional. I think their season last year was not a fluke. I do think it was maybe slightly overinflated due to an easy schedule, but you don't win that many games if you're not a very good football team. So week 10, they're 3-5. They're back home. Kind of backs against the wall here. You lose another one. You're not out of it until you get, 8 losses. Even then, you could still be in it, but you're in a tough spot if you go 3-6. And I think they come out hard here, and I think they get a win, an upset. This certainly would be an upset. And I don't necessarily have any rhyme or reason behind this one. It feels like a good spot. It feels like you have a team that's 3-5. So on paper, you're coming in, you're on the road for Baltimore. You're not too scared of this team necessarily, but this is still a very, very good Minnesota team. I think that one could be sneaky. It could sneak up on the Ravens there. And I think the Vikings sneak away with a win there. And then they look to carry the momentum the next week, and I think they do. I think they get a home win against the Bears, get some revenge from week 1, and they even out their record at 5-5. Then they're on the road in Lambeau. That's a tough spot for the kid. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Pack there. The Vikings do drop to 5-6 on the season. And then visiting Seattle, a place where Minnesota won last year. This is another one I went back and forth on. I kind of feel like Minnesota might win this one, but at the same time, I think Seattle might struggle a little bit, and I think this is one of their spots to get a win. So I do take the Seahawks in this one, but really, really hard pressed to take Seattle there. I really do want to take the Vikings. I'm not going to lie. Then they're back home week 14. And you know what? I have them beating the Commanders. I think the Commanders are going to be a great team. I think Jaden Daniels is the real deal. But they're not. I personally don't see the Commanders in that echelon of like the Eagles yet. So we'll see. I think their roster definitely improved from last year. And I think they're a phenomenal team led by a great quarterback. But I do want to see another season out of them. And I think this one will be a great game, though. And yet again, another time I'm saying this is a 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central game. That's going to be a great one. Vikings, I think a lot of games on that 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central window are going to be good Viking games to watch this year. A lot of fun ones. But I do have the Vikings sneaking out a win here to get back to 6-7. Then they're on the road in Dallas. And I'm sorry, Vikings fans, I do have the Cowboys winning this one, dropping the Vikings down to 6-8. So basically at this point, the playoffs are still within reach, but you kind of have to win out. No, you do have to win out. You're not going to go 8-9 and make the playoffs unless you're in the NFC South. So week 16, I think they get the job done. They need to win. They get it against the bad Giants team. Week 17, home against the Lions. They lost both to them last season, but I do not think that is the case this year. I really like this Vikings team. I think the Lions took a very small but a step back nonetheless. I will take the Vikings 8-8. And then personally, the way I see it, the records I have on the books and the way I see the season playing out, if they get to 9-8 here, I think they can make the playoffs. There's going to be tiebreakers involved. Who wins them, I'm not sure. But I do think home, they're probably playing for their playoff lives on the line. I do have the Vikings winning that one and finishing the season 9-8. So winning 4 of their last 5 games. It's really that middle stretch of the season there where I have them losing 5 out of 7. Those are tough games. Those are very tough games in the middle there. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised to see them snag an extra 1 or 2. This is a team that I projected 9-8, but if they went 12-5, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like there's a lot of other teams, if I have them around that 9-8 mark, the most I expect from them is, maybe 10 wins or so. But I really do think this Vikings team, they have a high ceiling and a low floor. Not too low. I would say it's hard to say. I'm going to do some videos talking about ceilings and floors because I think that's an interesting topic for each team. But I do think this Vikings team has an incredibly high ceiling. They are, believe it or not, they are top 10 in odds to win the Super Bowl, which is something I just no one's talking about them, which is just intriguing to me, a team that was that good last year. And it's one thing if they lost the quarterback that was just notoriously good, but Sam Darnold had one good year and they lost him, and everyone's acting like JJ is going to be detrimental to this team or something. So I'm not quite picking up on that. I'm not following that logic personally because JJ's ceiling is way higher than Sam Darnold's personally. So we will see. Definitely could see them doing better than this 9-8 mark. It's just how the cookie crumbled on this one. So if you're a Vikings fan, this is one of those I wouldn't blame you. If you're like, I think 12-5, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I agree. I think it's very possible. So we will see. Definitely on the lower end for Vikings predictions, but I think it's going to be a good team. I think they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to have a lot of good games. I'm excited to see what they got this year.